Around 3,000 years ago, near the islands of Polynesia, there was a small patch of land called Motunui, home to one of the newest Disney princesses, Moana.
Moana of Motunui.
But with the spread of a dark blackened plague, we ask which characters have their own internal darkness, who has the most evil deep down, and who is the most likely to restore the greatness that once existed on this beautiful island. Well, let's find out. Aloha, I'm Brad from WickedBinge, and this is Moana, Good to Evil.
Fish pee in you all day!
As usual, we'll be starting with the purest character and working our way down. And the gold medal of good goes to Tafiti, and there's a good reason for giving the top spot to her. For one, from the very start of the movie, she's shown to be very giving. She uses her very heart to create every form of life shown, and is willing to share everything she creates with other beings that exist. When she finally turns back to her old self, thanks to Moana, Tafiti not only reverses the damage that was done by the darkness that was unleashed for the past 1,000 years, but was even willing to forgive Maui for taking her heart in the first place. She's so forgiving, after hearing his sincere apology, that she actually gives him a replacement hook after his own was destroyed from fighting her corrupted self. Talk about having a big heart. Now, the silver medal of good goes to the heroic daughter of the chief, Moana. From the time she was just a toddler, Moana shows off extreme bravery and selflessness by helping a baby turtle get to the ocean safely. As she grows up, she accepts her role as the next chief, despite the fact that she longs to be on the water. Giving up her own desires to guide her people through hardship is a testament of her selflessness, since she knows that her people should come first. She respects and loves everyone in her village, even Hei, who she defends by saying, "I'm sure there's more to Hei than meets the eye."
I'm sure there's more to Hei than meets the eye.
It's fair to mention that her longing to be on the sea does almost kill her and Pua after their boat crashes. However, this longing soon becomes the driving force that saves her people from disaster. For their sake, she takes the canoe all by herself and leaves the island in search of Maui. She does show some reluctant agreement to both Maui's and the ocean's ideas for how to help the situation at hand, and lashing out in mild outbursts as a result. But this is a very easy detail to disregard, considering everything she's done in the movie.
This is my canoe, and you will journey to different...
Another point that is worth mentioning is that she does on some level manipulate Maui to continue on with their quest. This does appear justified though, if we think about the alternative option. Not only does Moana risk her own life and safety for her people, she does so for Maui as well, when she creates a decoy heart. This gives her a chance to save Maui's life and even grab his hook for him. The detail that speaks for her compassionate nature very highly is when she comforts Maui by saying, "The gods aren't the ones who make you Maui, you are."
But the gods aren't the ones who make you Maui.
Even after Maui leaves, Moana decides to finish the journey by herself. She not only faces Taka on her own, but she even allows her to come within inches of her form. If allowing a lava monster 100 times your size that close to you isn't a sign of how determined Moana is to fixing everything, then we honestly don't know what is. Taking the bronze medal for good after her granddaughter is Tala. She may be labeled as the village crazy lady, but Tala shows a lot more common sense than most of the people around her.
Okay. Well, then head on back.
When food starts to run out and her people are in trouble, she gives Moana advice and encouragement to do what is necessary. In addition, she's also very wise and keeps the legends of their ancestors alive, since she knows that one day that information will be needed. It is only her resolve for this quest and determination to fix things that Moana is able to carry out her mission and bring their family closer together.
Who are you meant to be?
She's always there for her granddaughter through good and bad, even after her death, and is always telling her to be who she is. Tala may also have a dark sense of humor, and she may come across as scary in certain moments, but she does care very much for her family and for her home. That is why she does whatever she can to help Moana clear away her doubts and to follow her heart. Following after Grandma is Pua. Although this little pig is not on screen for long, it is clear that he is supportive of Moana's dreams of sailing. He gives her encouragement as he holds a paddle in his mouth out for her, and at the end, when he's seen on the deck enjoying the breeze. He also shows his fondness for Moana by following her around the island, and even jumps into her arms at the end, licking her face repeatedly. His only drawback is that he tends to scare easily and runs away from their crashed boat. To be fair, he almost drowned just wars prior, so we'll let him off easy. Even though they're only ever mentioned throughout the movie, we're going to include the ancient chiefs of Moana's people. Their choice to stop voyaging and keep their people on the island did cause the strict belief maintained through his role of chief. However, we can cut these individuals some slack, since they only created this rule to protect their people from the monsters hiding in the ocean. Talk about a paradox. Now, we have Mini Maui. As his name suggests, the small tattooed version of Maui that runs all over his body, giving us feelings and reactions to everything Maui does. Unlike Maui though, this little guy shows his concern for others more openly than his other side. This is shown when he protested against Maui leaving Moana in the cave, or when Moana gets constantly thrown off the boat. His relationship with Maui is definitely more of a love-hate one, considering one moment he's messing with Maui, and in another, he's hugging him as a sign of comfort. Plus, his morality for doing what's right is shown no better than when he talks Maui into returning to the battle to help Moana against Taka. Mischievous? Sure, but that's not surprising if you look who he spends all of his time with. Lucky number 7 on our list is the ocean. It's pretty unique for essentially a huge part of nature to be made into an actual character in a Disney movie. Despite the fact that this body of water never speaks and only interacts with the other characters when the situation calls for it, the ocean seems to be primarily interested in helping Moana on her journey. Whenever she gets lost, the ocean helps her out in its own twisted way. Whenever Maui throws her off the boat, the ocean immediately guides her back on, and even while facing Taka, it gives the hero a helping hand. The other characters the ocean interacts with are Tala, Maui, and Hei. With Tala, the ocean acts calm and friendly. With Maui, the water seems childish as it spits in his face. And with Hei, their relationship can be seen as a love-hate one, considering how many times the ocean has to help keep this chicken from drowning itself. Overall, the ocean is where it needs to be. This character isn't kind to everyone, but does its fair share of solving the trouble at hand. Right after the ocean, we have Moana's mother, Sina. Although she's kind, loving, and patient towards Moana, she doesn't immediately support her daughter's dreams of wayfinding. At one point, she seems to even discourage her from achieving any other goal that her child has. From a parental perspective, this might have been seen as encouragement. However, during the events of the movie, if Moana had listened, the island would have been left in disaster. Thankfully, Sina realizes what had to be done to restore their home to greatness. She does worry about her. That is why she's relieved to see her baby come home safely. Next up is our favorite annoying chicken, Hei. Through the movie, this chicken's intelligence is made quite clear. He doesn't seem to have much going on upstairs, which often gets him in trouble. He's constantly falling into the ocean, he swallows the heart of Tafiti, and he even manages to get himself stuck on Moana's ship. He even tries to eat Maui after he turns himself into a beetle during practice, which does make Maui annoyed with him. Hei's most helpful moment, however, is near the end, when he catches the heart before it falls and gives the object back to Moana without eating it. Good job, Hei. You actually managed to do something good in the end. And with that said, we've wrapped up the good characters. We now move on to the gray area. After our brain-dead feathered friend, we have Chief Tui. From the very start of the film, this man shows a deep love for his family and his people.
You are the future of our people, Moana.
He forbids anyone from going outside the reef and gets mad at Moana every time she mentions traveling beyond the points that he set. This seems unreasonable until his wife explains that when he was young, Tui's best friend had drowned after the two decided to go out to sea themselves. His motives became clear during that moment. He isn't power-hungry or controlling, he just wants everyone on the island to be kept safe.
It's time to be who they need you to be.
Although this goal is a pure-hearted one, Tui does become oblivious to the real dangers the island is facing because he lets his fears control his behavior, so much so that he's not willing to accept that his people may be in far greater struggle sooner than anyone expects. This fear even leads to the man nearly destroying the boats of their ancestors just to try and get Moana to give up on the idea of being on the ocean.
I should have burned those boats a long time ago.
This would have caused him to not only hurt his daughter, but also destroy the only chance the people of the island had to leave if the darkness spread any further. If it wasn't for Tala being at death's door, things would have gone from worse to hopeless very quickly. That got kinda dark. But thankfully, after he sees his daughter return home safely from her trip, he finally lets go of his fears and happily becomes a voyager with the rest of his people. That got better, thank God. Next up is the villager. True, this character was only on screen for one scene. However, the scene in question does raise some flags. After seeing Hei pecking at a rock, he asked Moana if he should just cook the chicken.
Should we maybe just cook him?
Considering Hei is one of Moana's friends and does help her on her journey later in the movie, this suggestion would have very likely have changed the outcome of the film. Then again, chicken is mad good, man. It's too good. Just barely missing our top 3 most evil slot is the hero of all himself, Maui. Despite being labeled a hero, Maui is also called a trickster, which means he has no problem being manipulative in order to get his way.
Yes, because it only appears after a human sacrifice.
He distracts Moana by bragging about his past achievements, clearly showing his arrogant side. He steals her boat and traps her in a cave, showing no regard for her well-being.
You are gonna stay here with the other chicken.
He even says the only reason he stole the heart of Tafiti in the first place was to give it to humanity as a gift. Quite the irony, since his gift nearly destroyed everything in creation by bringing 1,000 years of darkness upon the world. His anger and frustration also causes this demigod to act abusive towards Moana, not to mention threatening the little guy tattooed on his own body to constantly throwing Moana off the boat the two of them share. He has little respect for anyone he comes across and seems only interested in his own goals. Heck, he even ripped off one of Tamatoa's legs in their previous encounter.
Well, she's dead. Okay.
But even his origin, Maui's behavior is better to understand. Since he was abandoned and then saved by the gods, all he wanted was for humans to love him, which, let's be honest, who doesn't want to be loved and appreciated?
I was found by the gods. They gave me the hook.
While it is also true that he snapped at her for his own insecurities and left her to fight on her own,
Without my hook, I am nothing!
he does come back and even gives up his hook and almost his life to protect her while he carries out her mission. His apology to Tafiti also shows a side of sincere guilt and regret for his actions. In the end, he is humbled from his experience with Moana. He learns how to truly believe in himself and those around him as he acknowledges Moana as a master wayfinder. If this change in personality and overall character had happened sooner in the movie, Maui would have probably been ranked higher than he is. Now, finally, we move on to the bad and the evil. Coming right after our favorite trickster are the infamous Kakamora. These guys may look cute when they're first seen. However, their attitude quickly changes into what Maui transfers to as murdering little pirates.
Kako, what?
Murdering little pirates.
These living coconuts are not against stealing and even using blow darts on their enemies, but this also means that despite being called murderous, we don't actually see them kill anyone. In fact, when the heart is on board their ship, they don't show much interest in continuing the fight until Moana intervenes. Taking the silver medal for most evil on our list is the fire demon, Taka. I know this is going to cause some debate, but give us a chance to explain. Yes, Taka did bring 1,000 years of darkness. However, this action doesn't seem to be controlled by reason or a conscious effort on her part. The darkness just seems to move on its own. Now, when voyagers come near her home, she does act violently and lashes out at them. This is definitely wrongful behavior, especially since Moana and Maui are trying to help her get her heart back. In the end, she does realize this and lets Moana put her heart back. It makes you wonder what's going on in her head during that moment. Still, talk about an overreaction to heartbreak. Finally, taking the gold medal for the most evil in Moana is Tamatoa. At first, this crustacean doesn't seem so bad, but he quickly comes out of his shell when he mocks Moana for feeling strongly towards her grandmother and exclaims that he ate his grandmother.
That's my grandma's. I ate my grandma.
Cannibalism in a family movie. Dope. That definitely raises some flags. His behavior only gets worse from there. When he brags about himself, he shows no sense of self-respect and is very vain from all the treasure he has on his body. This leads him to care nothing for others as he tries to eat Moana and breaks down Maui's self-esteem while beating the stuffing out of him. Way to kick a guy while he's down. And unlike Taka, Tamatoa is fully aware of his actions and how absolutely cruel he's being. Therefore, we deemed him the most evil character in the movie. His only redeeming quality, if we can count it, is the fact that he doesn't care that Moana and Maui got away. All he asks is, did you like the song?
Hey! Did you like the song?
Who do you think are the most good and evil characters in Moana? Remember to hit that notification bell and binge our good to evil playlist, where we break down the morality spectrum of your favorite cartoons and movies. But most importantly, stay wicked.